the Dakota Territory in the 1880s was not for the faint of heart. It was a land of vast prairies, scorched by the summer sun and lashed by brutal winters. Outlaws and cattle rustlers operated with impunity, seeking refuge in the region's remote badlands. Theodore Roosevelt, a young man from a world away, was drawn to the challenge of this untamed frontier. Roosevelt arrived in Dakota Territory seeking adventure and a respite from personal tragedy. He quickly adapted to the harsh conditions, embracing the cowboy lifestyle, riding the range, hunting game, and establishing himself as a rancher. Despite his privileged upbringing, Roosevelt earned the respect of the hardened locals. His ranch, Elkhorn, became his sanctuary and a testament to his adventurous spirit. Life on the frontier was unpredictable, a constant test of man and his resolve. Roosevelt, who had already faced personal tragedy with the simultaneous deaths of his mother and wife, found solace and strength in the challenges of the West. If you enjoyed this chapter, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more tales of the Wild West. The theft was brazen. Roosevelt awoke one morning to find his prized boat, the Molly Brown, missing from its mooring. The boat was more than just a possession to Roosevelt. It was his lifeline to navigate the Little Missouri River. The theft felt personal, a violation of the trust and code of honor that bound the small community together. Roosevelt's anger was immediate and intense. He knew the harsh realities of frontier justice. He was determined to track down the culprits and see them punished. This was not a matter of the boat's monetary value, but a matter of principle. He quickly assembled a posse, gathering a small group of trusted ranch hands. They prepared to ride out into the unforgiving expanse of the Badlands. The trail led them deeper into the heart of the Badlands. This unforgiving landscape became more treacherous with every passing mile. The winter was fast approaching. The air grew heavy with the threat of snow. Roosevelt and his posse pressed on. They rode through the desolate landscape, their determination fueled by the belief that the criminals would be brought to justice. Roosevelt, an experienced hunter and outdoorsman, used his skills to track the thieves. He studied the ground for any sign of their passage, noting the far hoof prints of their horses, the remnants of their campfires, and any discarded supplies. The pursuit was relentless, a test of endurance and willpower. Roosevelt, however, refused to give up. The harsh conditions and the vastness of the Badlands only strengthened his resolve. Days turned into nights, and still the chase continued. The men slept under the open sky, enduring freezing temperatures and meager rations. The horses were growing weary, and the men were nearing exhaustion. The trail led them northward. The landscape grew increasingly desolate and unforgiving. The frozen ground cracked beneath their horses' hooves. The silence of the vast plains was broken only by the howling wind. Roosevelt's knowledge of the land and his ability to read the subtle signs of the thieves' passage kept them on track. He noticed things others missed: a broken twig, a disturbed patch of snow, a faint trace of smoke on the horizon. They finally caught a lucky break. They discovered a recently abandoned campsite. It was clear that the fugitives were running out of supplies. The remnants of their fire were still warm, and scattered around were discarded food wrappers and empty cans. Roosevelt studied the scene carefully, noting the number of men and the direction they were headed. Despite the encouraging sign, Roosevelt knew that time was running out. He urged his men onward, pushing them to their physical and mental limits. As the pursuit continued, the full fury of the Dakota winter descended upon them. A blinding blizzard swept across the plains, transforming the landscape into a swirling white chaos. The temperature plummeted and the biting wind cut through their heavy coats like a knife. Visibility was reduced to mere feet. The harsh conditions threatened to derail their mission and put their lives at risk. Undeterred, Roosevelt rallied his men. They sought shelter in a narrow ravine, huddling together for warmth as the storm raged around them. The horses shivered uncontrollably, their breath forming plumes of frost in the frigid air. Food was running low and the men were nearing exhaustion. Even the most hardened cowboys began to doubt their chances of survival. Through the howling wind and driving snow, Roosevelt's resolve never wavered. The blizzard raged for 3 days and nights, testing the limits of their endurance. The men huddled together, sharing stories and what little food they had left. They were trapped at the mercy of the elements. The relentless howling wind and the suffocating blanket of snow seemed to mock their determination. Doubt crept in, whispering of the futility of their mission, the unforgiving nature of the Badlands, and the very real possibility of death. Roosevelt, however, refused to yield to despair. He understood the gravity of their situation, but he also recognized the strength and resilience of the human spirit. He rallied his men, reminding them of the importance of their mission and the code of honor that bound them together. He spoke of the victims of the theft and the need to hold the perpetrators accountable for their actions. When the storm finally broke, it left behind a world transformed. The landscape was buried under a thick blanket of snow. Roosevelt, his face weathered but his spirit unbroken, emerged from the ravine. With renewed determination, they resumed their pursuit. The fresh snow, while a hindrance to their movement, also provided a clear track of the thieves' progress. Roosevelt, his eyes sharp and his senses alert, followed their trail with the focus of a hawk. He noted every broken twig, every disturbed patch of snow, every subtle sign of their passage. He was like a hunter stalking his prey, patient, relentless, and utterly focused on his goal. Finally, on the 7th day of their pursuit, they spotted them. The 3 thieves, exhausted and desperate, had taken refuge in a dilapidated line shack, seeking shelter from the bitter cold. They were huddled around a meager fire, their faces etched with fear and exhaustion. They had clearly given up hope of escape. Their reign of crime, fueled by desperation and a blatant disregard for the law, had come to an end. Roosevelt, with his hand hovering over his revolver, approached the shack cautiously. And he called out to the men inside, his voice firm and unwavering. The thieves, recognizing the futility of resistance, complied. The journey back was arduous. The captured thieves, their hands bound, were forced to walk alongside their captors. The winter weather continued to be a formidable opponent, but the mood among Roosevelt's posse had shifted. The exhaustion and frustration of the chase were replaced by a sense of accomplishment, and the satisfaction of justice served. Upon their return to the small town of Dickinson, the news of their capture spread like wildfire. The townsfolk, who had been following Roosevelt's pursuit with a mixture of admiration and concern, gathered to witness the return of their local hero. The thieves, now stripped of their bravado, were paraded through the muddy streets, their shame evident in their downcast eyes and slumped shoulders. A hasty trial was convened. The three thieves were sentenced to serve time in the territorial prison. Justice, hard won and long sought, had been served. Roosevelt, hailed as a hero by the grateful townsfolk, had proven that even in the untamed wilderness of the Dakota Territory, the law had power. His pursuit of the boat thieves was more than just the recovery of stolen property. It was a testament to his unwavering belief in the rule of law and the importance of holding individuals accountable for their actions. The ordeal, however, had taken its toll. Roosevelt was physically and emotionally drained. He had faced down not only the harsh realities of the Dakota winter, but also the dark side of human nature. The experience left an indelible mark on him, shaping his views on justice, leadership, and the importance of personal responsibility. If you enjoyed this tale of frontier justice, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and thank you for watching.